Welcome to this series of videos on Micro Focus Content Manager, an overview of the installation and configuration. We previously saw how to install the core components of Content Manager. In this episode, we are going to install the web interface of Content Manager, or should I say the web interfaces, as there are several access points available in that sense. So we want to reach to this kind of interface, and that's our goal for this video. This is part of the installation package of Content Manager. So we saw how to install the core components that are here, and we are now working on this portion to install the web application server that comes with Content Manager. We will also need to install as a prerequisite the service API. These web services are used by the web server that we will install in order to access the workgroup server. The workgroup server is the one that really access the data, is in front of the data, and we need to access data via the workgroup server. So we have the desktop client connecting directly to the workgroup server, but when we are accessing the system via a browser, we will go through these components. So the web client server interface, the service API, and that's why in the first step we will configure the service account running these services in the workgroup server so that it can be trusted and we can impersonate the user coming from the web interface and not logging as the service account, but as the user that initiate the request here. All right, so let's start and let's go to our demonstration environment. So we have here our server. So I'm installing everything on this single server. I have here web server install. This is a prerequisite, of course, and Content Manager supports the Internet Information Server. So it's now currently empty. We have our default website. This is where we will deploy our server for the web interface. I go to the kit, the installation kit that we have here, the installation package, Content Manager 10, and I have here my folders and go in the 64-bit folder, and I have my wizard here. So I usually use the wizard, run the wizard. I'm here an administrator. Again, if you're not, you will have to right-click and run as administrator. As I have installed components and come back in this wizard, I go to modify and I see that my client and server are already installed, and I will check the remaining ones. We have our web service API, we have the web client interface, and we also have this web drawer that we will have a look at. That's an interface for read-only access. We have here some parameters to fill in. That's the default ID of the dataset we are connecting to. Here is my workgroup server. So I'm on this local server Win02. Same for the web drawer, database ID and server. And same for the service API, the API that allows to connect us. We also have the possibility to install some example files in the case we are we want to develop something. We have some examples here. I will also have to configure this account for the app pool, so the account that will run the application in IIS. I have clicked the check button in order to check my password is valid, of course, and I can start my installation. So this will take a couple of minutes here, and we will have our web client. So In the meantime, we can quickly go to the Content Manager Enterprise Studio because we need, as I said, to impersonate and go in the options, others, add our service account and add it here as a trusted server account. Once done that, save and deploy. It will restart the service and load the new configuration. Deploy. We are fine with that. So that's important also to read the installation guide. This video is an overview of how to process to proceed to install these content manager components, but in the installation guide we will have a lot of details on the prerequisites and all the things to do in order to install properly the configuration. After a couple of minutes, the installation is done. So now let's click close and let's have a look at the IIS server. Click F5 to refresh, and we should have all our site deployed. So we see all of them. The main one is Content Manager. We also have the web services, some other web dev technical things, our web drawer, and we will see also this mobile light interface. We have then the possibility to connect to it. Let's try it. Run my browser. I usually use Chrome, but Edge is also supported, Firefox as well. Let's go to HTTP 1.02. That's our content manager server and /content manager. The first time it takes a couple of seconds because it's loading some files, and then we will be ready. In the meantime, I will create a small document just to have something to ingest and try it. The first time you log, you will have this form that asks you some parameters to configure the interface, the language, date format, how you prefer to display things, your time zone, and so on. Let's click OK, and we have now our interface ready. We will add a new document to check that everything is working. It's as simple as drag and drop into this interface. It will ask me the records type, so content type. That's my document. Again, I have a form where I can add some metadata corresponding to the document. I will keep the defaults here. That's just for the example. My file is attached to the record. I save it, and I have a record in my system. Fine, let's now have a look at the other interfaces. So if we look at, for example, the mobile interface, this one allows to have a lightweight interface in case you are connecting via a mobile. It allows to have a simple interface and maybe easier for the mobile devices. You can switch it off if needed and go directly to the standard interface here. You see it's a simplified one. Maybe I should put it in a way that it looks like a mobile phone. You will be able to have the functionalities in a slightly different way. And finally, we will connect to the web drawer. So the web drawer is a read-only interface. It's actually a template which is provided to develop your own application, your own interface to connect to Content Manager and allow users, usually externally, to read the content. So here I have an error. It's because I didn't create an account for the service CM services account that is used in that case as a user. So in this interface, we are not going to use an impersonated user. We are going to use the service account that will connect to the interface, and the user will get in anonymously. So here I'm connecting to a Content Manager interface. So you saw me connecting to the data set I'm using, number 12, and I will look for all the locations. So that's all the users and places where we have data. And I will create a new person with a name, which is CM services. Right, I will make it a unique name CM services, and it's an internal user. We don't want to have it externally, and we will also make it available for login. And my demo domain. Okay, I've created my account. I will refresh my interface. So we have this read-only interface, and that's a template, as I said, that allows you to define your own search interface so that you can probably incorporate into your website. So let's here try to search the things I've registered on today, and I should be able to find my documents. This interface has in the template some functionalities to view document, to also request document, specifically when this is a physical document. We have users that can come and request the document physically and come to the archivist and get the physical document itself. Anyway, we have here our document, see the metadata, so we can find and look at the content inside the Content Manager in a read-only mode in that case. Fine. So we have seen that we can install these web interfaces. This is different ways to access the information via a web browser. We saw the mobile interface, very lightweight interface for the mobile devices. The standard web interface that comes out of the box with all the many capabilities that are available in this interface for the information workers. And we also saw this web drawer template, web template, that allows me to incorporate a search and read-only mode interface into my portal.